ASEAN and the AMS are pursuing seamless trade facilitation for two reasons. The first reason is that it is essential to create an ASEAN Economic Community, or AEC, as a single market and production base, which is the AEC's main goal. Seamless trade facilitation contributes to the almost free flow of goods and services within the region. Under seamless trade facilitation, there are very few barriers to movement of goods and services across borders within ASEAN. The second reason is that it contributes to MS and ASEAN's trade competitiveness, better governance, and improved development outcomes. For example, seamless trade facilitation is important for bringing SMEs into global and regional production networks and supply chains. Having more SME as part of global networks will bring profits to the economy in terms of more widespread diffusion of newer technologies, management techniques, and market intelligence.
Non-tariff measure is a policy that can potentially have an economic effect on international trade. While tariff has declined following disciplines instituted by the WTO, the number of non-tariff measures is on the rise, resulting in an increase of tariff stabilization in ASEAN. The total number of ATMs has increased by approximately 15% in the last 3 years. On the other hand, this upward trend made ASEAN member states to respond to various policy needs, including consumer protection, competitiveness enhancement, and improvement of product standards. The composition of the NTNs remains relatively stable across the years. TBTs are the most prominent categories of NTMs, followed by SPS measures. These two subgroups form a technical measures accounting for about 70% of total NTMs. In conclusion, the increase has been attributed to legitimate objectives such as concerns for the safety and protection of consumers and environment. However, it also served as a barrier to international trade. As such, NTMs have become tools to provide undue protection to certain industries within a country.
Non-tariff measures or NTM have costs. Data show that sanitary and phytosanitary or SPS for food and agricultural products and technical barriers to trade or TBT for manufactured products cost ASEAN some world average AVEs. By 2040, some efficient strategies are needed to reduce these costs. First, we should promote transparency by creating B2G national single window. Second, we can harmonize NTM standard in conformity assessment procedures or CAPs. Third, we may improve governmental institutions and simplify business practice. Moreover, there are also some other future issues of NTMs. For example, government procurement may prioritize only to domestic or state-owned enterprise. Also, there may be protection and intellectual property rights enforcement by prohibiting foreign takeover, requiring joint ventures, withhold of technology transfer, allowing trademark counterfeits, and slowing down trade and investment. All environmentally concerning policies can threaten non-green ASEAN products. From now on, ASEAN should adopt most efficient NTMs, cut off any use at once, which might benefit all our members.
Soft infrastructure that has been placed in alliance with WTO rules for non-restriction on trade through TBTS, so that we do not need to concern to create a trade bloc within region. It also necessary to expand and develop further, which the policy and strategy that been developed should be parallel to ASEAN goal or AFTA, ASEAN Free Trade Area. This can lead ASEAN to have better infrastructures. After ASEAN have developed their policies, ACCSQ will need to follow up how the developed policy affect the regional quality and safety, and also seek for disadvantages of this development. so that they can develop more. Therefore, AMS have created a group for inspection, testing, certification, and others to establishing a quality infrastructure and to ensure that effectiveness of the technical regulation and standard. ACCSQ could add more value to the region integration process by adopting a regional approach to regulatory impact analysis, which to ensure that they have approached the regional goal for a single market and production base. Due to the business model, the modern business have developed supply chain network and increased in business partnership and sourcing for lower cost production base, which rising the globalization, which AMS can use this reason to apply rules that protect this business. All of can lead to quality infrastructure can increase the economic growth by boosting the competitiveness and also create a level of playing field for local business. It also makes ASEAN more attractive to foreigner investors and create larger local supply chain.
As middle class face income and wage stagnation, job and social disruption have fallen mainly on the role of foreign competition and foreign labor. Also, with the disruptive effect of technological change and the inadequate catch-up and skill development of the labor force, ASEAN should continue to aspire in the foreseeable future toward a free regional market for all labor. By 2040, ASEAN should strive for an integrated skilled labor market and use of digital technology to spread the labor market information in every ASEAN country. For ASEAN integration, the private sector should be able to hire skilled workers from any other ASEAN country with minimal regulatory barriers. There are 6 roles of ASEAN in regional skill mobility and development. First, emphasize the welfare gains from ASEAN skilled labor mobility. Second, incentive to attract ASEAN foreign professional and skill, as well as safeguarding the interests of citizen workers. Third, accelerate the ASEAN-wide accreditation system for university and training institutions. Fourth, providing an equal opportunity for developing relevant skill sets. Fifth, developing strong regional consciousness through travel and study experience. And lastly, manage a gradual approach toward ASEAN labor mobility and integration.
ASEAN member states have always been important destinations for foreign direct investment in Asia and the Pacific. The reasons why the investor continue interest in ASEAN are the availability of resources for export-oriented manufacturing-based investment and market-seeking investment because of its large population of about 625 million people. Since the service sector is very vital for ASEAN development now and toward 2040, the environment should be attractive for FDI in ASEAN countries. In this chapter, it will discuss about the current FDI and challenges to attract more FDI in the main and service sectors. Next, the mega trend that will affect the service sectors leading up to 2040 will be summarized. And the last part will be the recommendations to ASEAN toward 2040 for the FDI and service sector opportunities. For existing FDI and services in ASEAN, FDI is important to AMS as it brings the advantages of advanced technology, management practice, and mature markets. FDI also contributes to GDP growth, foreign exchange earnings, employment creation, and increase in income. Investment and trade are also related due to the age of GVC, where the final product is made from various components made in different locations. The service sector is also the most significant recipient of FDI flow to the region. For the ASEAN Investment and Service Framework, regarding the existing FDI service in ASEAN, the need to invest the ASEAN service market. However, it is subject to national restriction and policy. The World Bank Service Trade Safety Net Index shows that AMS tend to impose a higher degree of restriction on service trade. In order to have fair and more open investment regime, the Asian Economic Ministers signed the ACIA, which consolidated 2 existing agreements, the ASEAN Investment Guarantee Agreement and the ASEAN Investment Area Agreement to promote and encourage FDI inflows to ASEAN. For the ASEAN investment and service sectors in the face of global megatrends. 1. Servification of economy. Moving forward 2040 amidst good faith challenge for servicification of the economy. 2. Digitalization of the economy. Another megatrend is the digitalization of economy or Internet of Things. Information and communication technology is transforming society significantly. These are creating opportunity, but the government have to harness the benefits and provide prudent oversight. E-commerce also has huge potential to change economic integration. The largest challenge is the huge gap of readiness in terms of Internet infrastructures and facilities. 3. Demographic and aging society. This issue will affect labor force migration and emerging middle class who have different lifestyles to drive the demand of markets, while the elder group will require and bring about opportunity of nursing and retirement service. 4. International movement on students and professionals. There will be movement of students and professionals. MRA should be signed among AMS institutions and could lead to some harmonization of curricula. 5. Improved infrastructure. The improved infrastructure helps spearhead economic growth. 6. Sustainable resources and climate change. Government will need to calculate sustainable resource management and identify alternative sources of power. 7. Economic power shift. Emerging economies like in China, India, Brazil are projected to dominate the world's top 10 economies in 2050. 7. Further recommendations. Moving forward to 2040, the recommendations are follow. 1. ASEAN should work toward reducing restrictions for investment in service and main sector. 2. Liberalization includes the opening up of sector and loosening of admission rules. 3. ASEAN should focus on selecting niche investment sectors for both promotion and liberalization. 4. ASEAN needs to re-strategize FDI and domestic investment promotion based on mega trend, the new power of the East. 5. Facilitate investment and growth in the service sector via improvement of connectivity such as transportation and infrastructures. 6. ASEAN should develop an investor clearance mechanism.
Attractive trade and investment destination towards 2040, specifically through a combination of substantive and procedural coherence with regards to international property rights and competition in the ASEAN member states, also known as the AMS. Currently, the AMS focuses on developing the ASEAN Intellectual Property Rights Action Plan, spanning from 2016 to 2025. This plan aims to establish and strengthen an ASEAN international property system that is both inclusive and robust. It also aims to promote asset creation and commercialization through geographical indications and traditional knowledge. The AEC Blueprint 2025, also developed by the AMS, has established several competition policies with a fundamental goal to provide a level playing field for all firms, regardless of ownership. This means to inhibit any anti-competitive activities so as to enhance liberalization, market unification, and production base.
We live in an era of globalization which is driving increased urbanization. A new age of seamless mobility is coming thanks to advance in computing power, big data, and information available from social media. This could be by enabling you to book your whole journey from door to door using a single app. Travelers will be soon available to plan and buy tickets for an entire journey before they leave the house. As ASEAN thrives as trading and economic hub region, logistics become more complex and more vital in horizontal and vertical integrations. Today, investors are presented with a wide range of possibilities as ASEAN pursues improved connectivity through wireless mode. Connectivity composed of transport, ICT, as well as the regulatory framework and the software necessary to deliver associated services and utilities.
as the trend of e-commerce and the digital economy are significantly increased in the past few years. ASEAN is now looking forward to improving and investing in this field. Today, e-commerce accounts for a market turnover that is equivalent to the gross domestic product of a G7 country. The goal is to boost the network speed to be ready for the new industrial revolution or Industrial 4.0. These ideas should be fulfilled within ASEAN by 2040 through national policy initiatives, private investments, and open market demand. The upgrade of the digital economy nationally will enhance the cooperation within ASEAN in many areas, such as SME and new products and services for people in ASEAN. These ideas require cooperation on justice and home affairs in many ways, especially in the area of privacy and security.
Financial integration is a key to boost ASEAN's growth economy as it allows free movement of capital across the borders within the region, creating a more effective resource allocation, risk diversification, and new trade and business opportunities. To create a single ASEAN market, the restrictions on financial markets and institutions need to be removed. The first sector of financial integration is banking service, which is why a framework for the free movement of banks in ASEAN is created. However, due to some restrictions in ASEAN capital market, financial liberalization is still incomplete. Autonomy of the borrower and accessibility to banks will improve through passporting ASEAN banks and conscious adoption of financial technology. However, financial stability comes at a cost. Therefore, policymakers in the region need to create policies that support a dynamic and resilient integrated financial system. Risk and vulnerability in the region faces must be carefully identified too.
In order to do a business-friendly trade within ASEAN, it must internationalize a regulatory system where GRP and IMS are embedded at the national level with RRC at ASEAN level. For good governance at the ASEAN level, AMS must focus on national level GRP and IMS, so that grouping can establish RRC to facilitate regulatory convergence. A key objective of GRP is to reduce unnecessary regulatory burdens. For regulatory reform to have the desired effect of being transparent and predictable, there must be a structured mechanism for the review, change, or introduction of regulations. GRP and IMS are insufficient. ASEAN will need the regulatory divergence across AMS. On one hand, this divergence may have negative effects, so to narrow them, may be mutual recognition agreements, plus establish a mechanism to deal with regulatory divergence.
The government of Malaysia is continuously striving to maintain and enhance efficiencies and competitiveness through private sector-driven and people-centered growth. GRP is one of the proven instruments to harness national efforts and resources for competitiveness and sustaining economic growth. GRP ensures that all regulations are effective in addressing the desired public policies objectives and in serving the country in a balanced and equitable approach and implemented in a transparent manner. There are 7 elements of regulatory impacts analysis or RIA. These elements are not always adopted, frequently due to implementers, lack of competencies, and many other shortcomings. Malaysia measures impact of a regulatory proposal at the domestic level and is restricted to a certain scope with a ministry or agency, which are looking at the issue from a value chain's dimension. Regulators rarely assess impact across border and in many cases do not assess regulatory proposals against similar regulation in other jurisdictions. Domestic RIA are unlikely to capture the impacts of international regulatory divergences and global supply chains.
Since 1986, Vietnam has enacted many laws and regulations to regulate economic activities in line with market-oriented reforms. So in 1996, the National Assembly issued the first law on legal normative documents or law on laws, which specify the roles of different authorities. And in addition, Vietnam also embarked on simplifying administrative procedures, which includes projects like Project 30 and Resolution Number 19. As a result, the regulatory reforms have contributed to the enhancement of the quality and effectiveness of law and regulations and the simplification of administrative procedures. However, the reform still faces two major challenges, which are the lack of regulation that can support and facilitate technology and innovation, and the lack of growth in micro SME sectors. But in the end, there is no conclusive answer of how to design the appropriate regulations and how to enforce them.
After a thorough run-through of the measures ASEAN has taken, we can assemble them into a unified aim: to facilitate an ever more seamless and integrated trading system within the ASEAN member states. This also requires us to recognize the forces that drive the ASEAN integration, especially regarding seamless trade. For example, the idea of an anti-bureaucratic system for all trade-related systems, an integrated single risk management system, a functional ASEAN customs transit system, and many more act as pillars that support ASEAN's ambitions for its future. Notwithstanding ASEAN's hope for creating and becoming the best version of itself, ASEAN realizes that it would have to grow into a much larger and complex organizational body than it is today. Already, there are services provided by Thailand's Customs 4.0 and Singapore's National Trade Platform to facilitate seamless trade within ASEAN. But as the future holds, newer technologies such as blockchain and data analytics will redefine the world of trade facilitation, requiring governments within the AMS to continuously support this fast-evolving business landscape.